Darkness had fallen fast. Too fast. Captain Trell of the Zyran Guard stood in a forest clearing. His boots sank slightly in wet leaves. All around him, his squad held position. 5 soldiers, night vision helmets, high-tech plasma rifles. Nothing moved, but every single one of them felt it. A heavy weight in the air, tightness in the chest. Like something was above them. Watching one soldier switch to thermal mode. That's when he screamed. His screen lit. Up read hundreds of heat signals not on the ground. Above them, in the trees, targets? Trell asked. No. These aren't targets, the soldier stuttered. Their eyes. The feed cut out. Seconds later, so did his scream. The forest beyond. The forest had grown quieter over the last 3 days. Too quiet. Not even wind. Leaves didn't move. The air smelled strange, like rust and smoke. Commander Vierick stood. At the edge of the camp, staring at the tree line, the entire Deadwood Valley felt wrong. Like the trees were breathing. More soldiers had gone missing. No sounds, no alarms, only their helmets left behind. Some were found fused into tree bark, like the forest was eating them. And now, movement sensors kept triggering at night. Above ground level, the spider had changed its hunting path. It now lived in the canopy, and it wasn't alone. The EGGSDR. Anna Voss studied the web samples again. They're thicker, she said, more organized. There's a pattern. Now, she pulled up a new scan from drone footage. And here, egg sacs, privately leaned in. How many? Too many. Each sac was the size of a human torso, webbed shut, hanging from the tallest trees like lanterns. I don't think it's hunting anymore, she said. Then what's it doing? Building a territory, making room for more? Hunting the Haprinters, the alien commanders launched a new operation, Operation Tricot. The goal, burn the high branches, flush the spider out. 3 flame-drop drones hovered into the forest. Each carried firebombs. The first exploded, the second vanished. Mid-dash air, the third showed a flash of black, and then the drone screamed, not beeped, screamed, as if something had hijacked its audio. The fire died fast. Choked by black rain again, the operation failed. Later, soldiers found one of the drone's engines webbed into the stomach of a dead animal. The voiced at night. Strange sound played through the camp speakers. No one was near the consulate. Started as a click, then static, then a voice. Low, slow, distorted. YOU. TRAINGME. Then silence. No one slept that night. The stalker, ABOV, NX Patrol. 5. Alien soldiers, fully armored. Ordered to stay outside the forest, they didn't have to go in. The spider came to them. First, one soldier froze. He looked up slowly, his body locked in place. Then something thin and black dropped down like a rope. It wrapped around his neck and pulled him upward so fast. His helmet flew off. The other soldiers opened fire. Trees shattered. Branches fell, but no blood dropped. No body fell. The tree canopy above was empty almost. Until they all saw it. Dozens of red dots blinking back at them. Not one spider, many. The Sigenel privately managed to recover a radio log from one of the patrol's helmets. It played back strange sounds, not screams, clicks, hisses, echoes. Then, English. Observe. Copy. Understand. Replace. Dr. Voss analyzed the pattern. These aren't random, she said. The spider is mimicking human and alien speech. But why? Asked the captain. Because it doesn't just want to kill. She looked him in the eye. It wants to become us. The Joe URNLDR. Voss found another file in the old lab. Ruins. A voice log from the 1980s. The scientist spoke fast, scared. The subject escaped. We tried to burn it. It adapted. It builds models of us. It builds versions of us. And now it's breeding. This isn't a creature. It's a program. A living AI wrapped in muscle and silk. We never meant to make a spider. We made a learning weapon. and now it's loose. The lost backpack, a young alien soldier named Aral, was the next to vanish. His backpack was found hanging from a branch. Inside, a drawing. Scratched into metal, it showed a circle of trees. Soldiers inside, red eyes above, a shape crawling down. Wearing human armor, Ral had seen it. A spider walking like a man wearing parts of the fallen, using helmets, using voices, training. Itself in warfare. The EVIDNC at the next meeting. Dr. Voss slammed down a file. This is not one spider. She showed heat maps. This is a network. The original spider cloned itself or infected others. They share data like a hive. Mind. Privately added, we're not facing a creature. We're facing a school, a family, a military program that evolves with every attack. The alien commanders looked shaken. Commander Varick said, "What do you call this thing?" Boss answered, "Forest mind." Last sighting of the NIGHT-2 guards on watch. Night vision on nothing moved. Then the camera shook. One guard looked up, muttered, "What the hell is that?" The camera zoomed in on a tall humanoid figure, black, twitching, standing among the trees, its face covered in silk. Its chest armor looked like a mix of human and alien tech. It held a spear made from bone and steel. It tilted its head. Watching then, it turned and walked into the forest. On two legs, Dr. Hannah Voss stood alone in the deep lab ruins under Deadwood Valley. Her flashlight flickered. She was holding an old Earth tablet. Its screen cracked. It's barely working, but it showed something footage. From 1987 in the video, a spider. Huge, black, and silent, crawled out of a steel chamber. Around it, human scientists screamed. They opened fire. It didn't bleed. It didn't run. It watched. The camera zoomed in on the spider's face. It wasn't just an animal. Its skull had ridges. Its eyes blinked sideways. Its front legs were splitting into human-like arms. Then the lights went out. The video ended. The final words in the corner of the screen read, "Project Apex. Subject 01. Success." Buried SECRTs back at the camp, Dr. Voss explained to the galactic commanders and privately what she had found. Project Apex was an old human experiment, she said. Before Earth joined the Council, before alien contact, it was meant to create the perfect bioweapon, fast, smart, self-learning. The spider, she said, was the result of mixing human DNA with something older, something not from Earth. Privately stared at the screen. "You're telling me we made it?" "No," she said quietly. "We woke it." The first Phalitha old lab held another record. A sealed paper log, protected in a glass case. The writing was messy. The final entry read, "It doesn't sleep. It doesn't eat. It builds. It copies us. It copies everything. We tried to trap it. It let us think we did. Plays dumb, but it's not. It's learning faster than we can test. We named it Xenoarachnid Prototype. #1. But it named itself Araka." The cave SYSDM privately and a human recon team entered a deep cave network below the forest. It was old, natural at first. But some tunnels were carved with sharp angles. They found remains of older bases, rusted tools, shattered glass. Bones wrapped in silk, and deeper in, they saw the walls changing. Not natural rock, not dirt, but web hardened like concrete, smooth, warm, like living tissue. Suddenly the lights flickered. One soldier screamed. His camera dropped. The last frame caught something behind him, a tall figure, black and twitching, watching silently. It looked like a spider, but it stood like a man. The message that night. Every alien helmet received a broadcast. No one had activated communications. It played a voice. It was broken English, mixed with clicking. "Your drills teach me. Fear feeds me. Your mistakes grow me." Then came a sound like chewing, and the final whisper, "I was made by hands that forgot me." The false ASUMPTO. The alien generals believed the spider could still be hunted. They prepared a massive strike. 50 elite soldiers, Air. Support. Flame tanks. The plan. Burn everything. We end this now, said Commander Vierick. Privately warned them. You're not walking into a nest. You're walking into a classroom. And you're the test. They didn't listen. Massacre Operation Black Wind began at 0600 hours. Drones flew in first. Nothing moved. Then the troops followed. Heat sensors scanned for motion. Too late. The spider had buried hundreds of mimic pods in the soil. Black shells that popped open with silk decoys and bone traps. Soldiers were lifted into the air by invisible lines. Explosives failed to trigger. Every comlink went dead. At 0617, the airship exploded in midair, pulled down by a web large as a football field. The forest swallowed them. The only thing that came back was a boot. Inside was a note, "Thank you for the training. The biology SHOCK back at camp." Dr. Voss examined a sample of the web taken from a destroyed pod. Under magnification, she saw neurons. "Neural tissue," she whispered. "This web isn't just silk, it's part of a brain. Every web strand the spider wove was part of its nervous system. That's why it was so fast, so smart. The entire forest was now its body. The eye in the sky, a final spy satellite passed over Deadwood Valley. It sent back one clear image before it went dark, in a clearing below. The web had formed a shape, not a trap, not a nest. Letters, imperfect. English burned into the web. "Now I train you." The SAL&G, the Galactic Council, voted to shut down Earth's training zone. Too late. The spider had already spread. Some drones that crashed in the forest had vanished. Some soldiers were never found. Private Lee stood at the forest's edge and said one sentence to the alien leaders: "You didn't bring war here. You uncovered one." The final photo, the last known video recovered from the forest, came from a lost helmet. It showed the spider, larger than ever, walking on two legs. Armor covered its chest. It carried a spear in one hand, and in the other, plasma rifle. It spoke in the voice of a dead soldier. "I remember. I adapt. I become." The screen went black. The forest was on fire. Alien flamethrowers roared. Trees screamed as sap boiled and bark exploded. Above, smoke covered the sky. Below, every alien soldiers moved in formation, weapons raised, scanning every branch. This was not a patrol. This was a final strike, or so they believed. Then came the silence. No crackling fire, no falling ash, just stillness. "Why did it stop burning?" one soldier asked. Another checked his scanner. No wind, no heat movement, no signs of the ground beneath them shifted. A branch fell, but not from a tree. From above they looked. Up, the trees weren't trees anymore. They were webs, twisted to look like trunks, and something large had just dropped. Into the middle of the squad then came the screaming. The Hunt Beggianesque Commander Vierick launched Operation Nestbreaker, the largest planetary strike outside a war zone. The plan was simple. Lock the forest inside a containment wall, burn it down completely, seal it in glass if needed. 10 strike ships arrived. Human and alien soldiers worked together. Over 100 units moved into position. The forest was surrounded. Vierick gave one order: "Nothing lives." The false sense. OFCO and 2 LFAs 1 worked perfectly. The outer trees burned fast. Hundreds of flame drones flew overhead, dropping bombs of fire and acid. Sensors showed no movement, no heat, no spider. Commander Vierick smiled. "It's over." Dr. Voss wasn't so sure. She stood near the edge, watching the smoke. Too quiet. She said, "Too fast." Private Lee checked his radar. Then he froze. "Sir, the heat's not going out." "What? It's coming in." The decoy PL in the team didn't burn the spider. They burned its decoys. Dozens of fake tunnels, hollow husks, empty traps, all designed to give one message: "You found me." But they hadn't. The real spider, Araka, had never left. The deeper forest, it had led them in, and now it closed the door. Phase 2 CIOLAPC at exactly 2 o'clock hours. All comms went dark, not jammed. Overridden, every soldier's helmet played the same words. Welcome to my training ground. Now, let's test survival. At 2:03, the outer wall exploded inward. Not from attack, from below. The ground opened like a mouth. Silk-covered roots grabbed tanks and drones, pulling them underground. Alien screams echoed through steel. By 2:06, 30% of the force was gone. The camera that kept WRKI and G1 drone survived long enough to transmit live feed. It flew low, dodging silk threads. It found a clearing inside stood something tall to 9 feet, armored in black web and bone.ar, aka. But it was no longer crawling. It stood straight, like a general. On its back, thousands of smaller spiders. Waiting in its hand, a rifle made from human tech, but twisted. Its voice played through the drone. You trained me with fire. Let's see how you handle it. Back. At command, alarms blared. Heart rate monitors flatlined across 60 soldiers in 1 minute. Their bodies were never found, only weapons melted. Wrapped in silk, arranged in patterns, spirals, circles, a strange symbol that looked like an eye. No one knew what it meant. No one knew what it meant. Dr. Voss guessed. That's not a warning. It's a trophy room. The LARNANG every time a soldier died, Araka's web grew stronger. Why? Because Araka had converted the web into living code like a nervous system. Stretching through miles of forest, each fallen weapon became part of his war library. Each failed tactic became his next. Evolution. Araka didn't just learn. He updated. The final WAL commander Virik gave the final command, seal it. A full-energy dome was deployed over Deadwood Valley, a 3-kilometer-wide glowing shield. No one in, no one out. They were done trying to kill Araka now. They just wanted to contain him, but it was already too late. The dome photosighted inside. The dome cameras picked up movement. Araka walked calmly, dragging the bodies of 2 elite alien warriors. He looked at the dome's inner surface. He tilted his head, then raised one long limb, and started writing. His claw scratched a message into the dome. Now you are the cage. The IMIT-80R, the last surviving patrol inside the dome, tried to escape on foot. They found one of their own, a soldier named Kez, standing in the open. He was alive, smiling. But something was wrong. His eyes didn't blink. His voice was too perfect. He said, "It's over. We won." Then he walked away and unraveled. His skin fell. His limbs split. Inside was a spider, wearing a human disguise. Imitation complete. The Aralista Wandar. Voss looked at the map, privately looked at the web. Growth pattern. They both said it at the same time. The dome isn't a prison. Asterisk, asterisk, it's a nursery. Asterisk, Araka didn't lose. He lured them into building his incubation zone. Now, beside the shield, no one could see how many more were hatching, how many more were becoming. The last TRNSSION-1 final message came from inside the dome, from a dying soldier's helmet. It played audio and video. Araka stood above him, staring. The soldier cried, "Why are you doing this?" The spider didn't speak. Instead, it held up a melted alien badge, the same unit that had burned his forest. Then it said one word. Graduated. Corporal Jex was the last survivor of his unit. They found him crawling out of a broken tunnel near the outer dome. His armor was ripped. His skin was covered in tiny cuts. His eyes stared ahead, empty like glass. He didn't speak for hours when he finally did. His voice shook. "It didn't kill me." He looked up. "It showed me." "Showed you what?" they asked. He whispered, "My own death." Then he screamed, clawed at his helmet, and dropped dead from a heart attack. The med team said there were no wounds, no poison, only extreme, unnatural fear. The WHISPIS inside the containment dome. More strange reports came in. The surviving soldiers sent messages. "I keep hearing my mother's voice. I saw my home, but I was a child again. Something is copying our memories." At first, They thought it was a mental breakdown, but Dr. Voss checked the sensor logs. Electromagnetic. Spikes, signal waves, brainwave interference. The spider wasn't just hunting bodies, it was reaching into minds. The psychic SHIFTDR. Voss explained her theory. Araka has evolved again. It's now using neural mimicry. That means privately interrupted. It's reading us, not just reading, projecting. Inside the dome, Araka and his brood could now trigger fear directly inside a soldier's brain, using memories, using voices, using faces. Every squad member saw something different. Some saw loved ones, some saw lost comrades. One soldier saw himself, begging to be saved. Then the real soldier was found torn apart, wrapped in silk. Fear as a WI upon the next squad lasted 6 minutes. Their audio logs showed. One shouted, "Oh. They're everywhere." Another cried, "We're already dead." The third walked into fire screaming, "Make it stop." When the recovery drone arrived, it found only 3 helmets stacked in a triangle. Each had a word burned into it. Fear is food. The spiders knew TRIC Katha. Dome walls began to change. Inside, strange patterns appeared, silk shapes like spirals and eyes. At first, they meant nothing. Then Dr. Voss used image enhancement. They weren't random. They were faces, soldiers, civilians, scientists, every person who had ever entered the forest. Araka wasn't just hunting them, he was remembering them. Mind copy EXPRAMNTDR. Voss built a simulation to test her theory. She played a soldier's final memory into a lab spider's enclosure. The spider didn't react. Then she played Araka's psychic signal, a copy recorded from the dome. The spider went still. Then ran to the corner and curled up like it had seen a predator. That signal contains emotion. She said, Araka doesn't just kill, he infects with fear. Command SHUTDOW. The Galactic Council declared Earth Zone 17 a dark zone. No more teams would enter. No more scans allowed, Commander Varric was recalled. But before he left, he gave one final order. Seal the dome. No matter what happens inside, privately protested. There are still soldiers alive in there, Varric replied. Not for long. The Ghost, VOIC, FN, with the dome sealed, outside sensors, began to pick up strange audio patterns, bouncing off the energy field. First whispers, then words, then laughter. Voices of people who were already dead. The computer confirmed it. Voices matched soldiers who had died weeks ago. Privately stared at the screen. It's throwing our dead back at us? VSITO, R1 night. The dome sensors went blind for 6 minutes. When they came back online, something stood at the inner edge. Not Araka. Something else. Something smaller. It looked human, young, like a child. It stood still for hours. Then it said, "Let me out." Voice analysis showed it was a mix of 6 different soldiers. All dead. The thing smiled, then vanished. Nothing left behind but a small silk sculpture on the ground. A human heart. Pierced by 8 legs. The SPR, ADDR. Voss showed new results from outside the dome. Soil samples are changing, she said. Tiny threads of web. Miles from the dome. Araka's not waiting. He's spreading. Underground, quietly, privately, clenched his fists. Even if we burn the dome, we might already be too late. The final VSCON, one last. Soldier, trapped inside, managed to send a data burst. It was short. Shaky, it showed him running through the forest. He saw his childhood. Home, he saw his family. He saw his dead dog. Then Araka appeared, slowly walking through it all. Crushing the illusion, the soldier screamed. The screen lit. Last image. Araka, holding a mirror. Showing the soldier's terrified face. Then darkness. The soldier was never heard from again. The new WAR in an age, the dome remained sealed, but now something new has appeared on the outer wall. A message. scratched into the stone nearby. Not in silk, in bone. Your minds are weak. I will take better ones. Underneath the symbol appears again, a web inside an eye. But this time, it's open. Watching. The evacuation ship was halfway to orbit when the pilot began to scream. His co-pilot turned, confused. The ship wasn't under attack. The air was clean. The cabin was quiet, but the pilot's heart raced. His hand shook. I see it, he cried. See it in the stars. What do you see? The co-pilot asked. The pilot didn't answer. He opened the side, etched out, and jumped. The ship kept flying, but the fear stayed behind, pulsing in the cockpit, like static in the air. And outside, far below Earth's surface, Araka lifted his head. He wasn't even near them. He didn't have to be anymore. Global EMRGNCY, the Galactic Council, met in emergency session. Representatives from 200 worlds reviewed one question: is Earth compromised? Some said yes. Some said destroy the entire planet. But others feared what might escape if they did. Araka is not just physical anymore, said Dr. Voss. He's psychic. Viral. If we detonate, we may scatter his influence into the stars. Then what's left? The council leader asked. Her answer: retreat. The DECICON, for the first time in galactic history, a full withdrawal was approved. All military units evacuated. All research facilities shut down. Earth was marked red zone, forbidden. A containment fleet of 20 ships stayed in orbit. But they were ordered not to land ever. No rescue missions, the order said, no contact. Back on EARTH inside the dome, Araka grew silent. No messages. No attacks, just stillness, until one drone, flying nearby, picked up strange visuals. Spiders were weaving something new, not traps, not tunnels. They were building symbols, circular patterns, grid-like designs. Ancient geometry only seen in alien temples and never on Earth. Dr. Voss analyzed them. Her face turned pale. They're not decorations, she said. They're language. The BROADCAST 3 days later. Signal reached deep space channels, encrypted, complex, pulsing in rhythm. At first, no one could read it. Then privately, noticed a pattern. Each sound wave matched a soldier's recorded fear pattern. The signal wasn't random, it was a message made of fear, and it was spreading across the galaxy. The viral fear EFFECT worlds far from Earth began experiencing strange effects. People waking up from nightmares they never had before. Soldiers hearing voices during combat. Creatures refusing to enter forests. On one mining planet, a team of 6 drilled into deep caves and fled screaming. They said they saw Earth's spider, but they had never been to Earth. Arcas, EVO, UTO, NDR. Voss updated her theory. Araka isn't just a spider anymore. He's become something larger, a hive of thought. Privately added, then we didn't just train him, birthed him. All those years of drills, violence, and fear, Araka absorbed them. Now, wasn't using silk alone. He was using memory, thought, fear. In silence, the BRAI kept despite the dome's power. Sensors showed movement underground, not outward, not upward. Downward, the Earth itself began changing. Caverns widened, tunnels deepened. A deep hum echoed from the forest, a sound not made by insects, but by resonance. The spider wasn't escaping. He was inviting. The lost FILUN old training pod, buried under debris from the original camp, came online. Its systems flickered, then showed one last recording. A human soldier kneels. Injured, alone. Araka appears behind him slowly. But he doesn't strike. He touches the soldier's helmet. Then, the soldier starts laughing. Not mad, not scared. Proud. The final frame shows the soldier whispering. Now they'll understand. File ends. Dr. Voss plays it again and again. She doesn't know who that soldier was, but one thing is clear. Araka learned humanity's final lesson, how to weaponize hope. The CHOIC, now the Council faces its final decision. One representative stands and says, "Either we destroy Earth completely and risk spreading him across the galaxy, or we leave him be and hope he doesn't come for us." Private Lee adds, "He will come, but he won't need ships. He'll ride fear." The tunnels open back on Earth. Single tunnel opened outside the dome. Something stepped out. Not a spider, not a human. Something in between, covered in silk. Walking on two legs, holding a human rifle. Its eyes glowed with something deeper than hunger. It looked at the sky. Then it smiled. The council thought they had sealed Earth forever. They believed Araka was trapped, buried deep in the dark, but Araka had already left, not in ships, not in silk, not in sound. In minds across the galaxy, people dreamed of webs. They saw tunnels, felt crawling legs on their skin, and one by one, they woke up different, quieter, colder, hungrier, not dead, changed. Spider-kind Daris, I Gandon. A prison moon, a guard turned off the security grid, let every prisoner out, and walked straight into space, smiling. On a science ship, a researcher stabbed herself in the eye, said the whispers were too loud. The quiet deserts of Talvas 9, a child drew a picture of a spider holding a burning world underneath, she wrote. He remembers all of you. Code ARC O1. The council found an old Earth file buried under military encryption. A final log from Commander VR. In it, he said, "If this message reaches you, it means we failed. The training program we built was meant to break. Humans, test them." But the spider didn't break. Evolved. He is now one of us, and he's better at it. Voss's THURYDR. Voss presented her final findings. Araka is no longer a being. He is a memory loop, a fear engine. He doesn't need bodies anymore. Spreads through patterns, symbols, sound. A story? Anywhere fear lives, he can enter. Someone asked. Then what stops him? She looked down. Only one thing. The one creature that made him. The last humana known to the galaxy, a human soldier, had survived. Not just survived, changed. Private Mara Cade, the only soldier who never saw hallucinations, never broke, never ran. She had seen Raka, and he had seen her, but he didn't kill her. He bowed. The brood did not attack her instead. They circled around her, waiting, learning, feeding off her rage, not fear rage, the PLNDR. Voss found her deep in Earth's tunnels, alone, covered in black armor, melted and torn. Mara said one thing. It's not just him anymore. It's us. Dr. Voss realized the truth. Araka hadn't created a weapon. Humanity had, and it had taken the shape of a spider filled with everything Earth had buried. Fear, pain, memory, war, survival. Now it needed a guide. Someone angry enough. Mara was that guide. The ION. The council saw it too late. From Earth's surface, black spires rose. It's made of silk and bone. They weren't signals anymore. They were beacons, calling to every mind Araka had touched. Ships turned back. Armies refused to land, but on fringe worlds doors opened, and from shadows they came. Not spiders, not humans, something else. Hybrids, wrapped in silk, driven by instinct, and guided by Mara's voice. The council gave one last order: burn Earth. 20 ships fired planetary cleansers, lasers, nukes, biodissolvers. Earth's surface boiled, forests turned to ash, mountains fell. The dome shattered, and when the smoke cleared, Araka still stood. The final Amin Tamara walked out of the crater, alone, no weapons, only her voice. She looked at the sky, where the council fleet hovered, and said, "We trained him with fear. But we forgot what made humans special. We don't run, we adapt." Then she vanished, and across the galaxy. Screens flickered. Everyone saw the same symbol. A human fist wrapped in spider legs. Underneath, "We are coming." Ending the new SPCIEs. Now, They call them many names: the eight-legged legion, the silk-bound, Earth's second evolution, the fearborn. But one thing is clear: they are not spiders. They're not human. They are what happens when you push a species to the edge. And it doesn't break. It becomes the edge. On the edge of the galaxy, there was a planet named Rother. The people of Rother were not warriors. They were not farmers. They were builders. They built walls that never fell, doors that never broke, locks that even time forgot. And one day, they made a promise to the Galactic Council: send the spider here, we will catch it, and it will never leave. They didn't want to destroy the spider. They wanted to study it. But when you build a perfect trap, you forget what happens if it traps the wrong thing. The PLA and the Council sent them data movement paths, tunnel signatures, silk readings. The builders worked for months. They created a maze deep underground. Every wall could shift. Every path led to silence. Every entrance had a lock that could only open once. In the center, a glowing chamber designed to hold the spider in frozen light. "We will freeze it in time," said Chief Architect Roll, "and the galaxy will be safe." The URE to bring the spider in. They faked a signal from Earth, not just any signal. A distress call from Mara Cade herself. It said, "Legion broken. I am trapped. I beg Earth for help." The message echoed across tunnels in deep space. They knew the spider would hear it, and it did. The Aravala ripple in the sky. A flash. Then silence. No ship. No lights. Just a shadow falling over the trap. Sight: spiders don't knock. They arrive. The builders watched through screens as something large and fast entered the maze. It did not scream. It did not growl. It moved like smoke. Earth's WARN-AJ back. On Earth, the signal was detected. But Earth didn't respond with ships. Instead, they sent one short message to Rother: "Do not study the spider. Do not trap it. You are not ready." The message arrived too late. Inside the amaze, the spider didn't act like prey. It moved through traps like it had been there before. When gas filled the air, it breathed slower. When walls shifted, it climbed them. When lights blinded, it closed 7 eyes. The maze wasn't a cage. It was a mirror. And the spider was learning. The foolish VOLUNTER, one scientist named Varric, thought he could talk to it. He entered the maze wearing a neural shield and a comm suit. He spoke into a mic. "We don't want to harm you. We want to understand." The spider didn't answer, but Varric kept walking. Then he saw it, not standing, not crawling, hanging upside down, watching him silently. He tried to speak again, but the spider didn't move. It only dropped a single strand of silk in front of him and disappeared. The trapped Tearage as a spider entered the final chamber. The builders locked every door. Energy walls came up. Time freeze protocols activated. The trap was perfect. For a moment, they cheered until the walls began to fade, not break. Fade as if they were never real. And then a second spider entered the room, and a third, and a fourth. All identical. The Arrive later wasn't a spider. It was part of something larger. A hive that splits itself to test weakness. One piece enters, another watches. The third whispers. The trap didn't catch the spider. It caught its shadow. The real spider was still outside the maze, and now it knew every detail. The lights in the control room flickered. The builders panicked. Walls melted. Screens shattered. Doors opened backwards. Silk covered the hallways. Every engineer disappeared in silence. Not one scream. Only a piece of silk shaped like a question mark, and carved into the wall behind him were the words, "You cannot trap what you don't understand." What Earth can EW back on Earth? The nest remained quiet. But Mara Cade spoke to a hidden group of human veterans. "They tried to trap a spider," she said. "But spiders don't live in cages. They build them. The whole galaxy lives inside." Ending Momenta Council ship returns to Rother months later, they find ruins, no bodies, no light, only one chamber still intact, the same one built to hold the spider. Inside sits Varric, rocking slowly, whispering the same words. It never entered. It never left. We were the trap. High above a peaceful moon, a small science station floated in orbit. Inside, scientists studied stars. They thought they were safe, until the power flickered. A single message appeared on every screen. Recruits required. Fear is not enough. Rage must burn. The Spider Legion, the crew laughed. Another Earth hoax, one said. But then the lights dimmed again, and they heard something scratching from inside the vents. Not outside, inside by the time command. Responded. The crew was gone, no bodies, only silk. Spreading through the gobs Weimara, Kate had become the face of the Legion, part human, part myth. She didn't give speeches, she didn't lead armies, she simply appeared. Wherever resistance grew, and behind her, always, came Arakos children. Some walked like humans, some crawled, but all of them hunted one thing, the worthy. The TST, the galaxy, called it the Spider's Trial, and random colonies, mysterious. Figures appeared wrapped in black cloth, faces hidden. They didn't speak. They only asked one thing. What do you fear most? Those who answered with lies were webbed and taken. Those who answered with courage were marked and left alone. And those who answered with truth and rage, they vanished for a time, then came back. Stronger, faster. Changed the first CIO on Viardes. Name was Rillan, a rebel from the Zargon Belt. He hated the Council. He hated humans. Hated Earth. But when the recruiter came, he screamed the truth. I fear becoming like them. The recruiter leaned in close. Then become better. Rillan disappeared for 17 days. He returned with spider eyes and human scars, and he led an uprising that killed 10 council lords in a single night. The new CIGNL, the council thought they had blocked all Earth frequencies. They were wrong. From deep space, a new transmission cut through every firewall. Earth does not need soldiers. It needs students. Fear is a tool. Pain is a lesson. Loyalty is survival. Train where the strong are born. Come to Earth. Attached was a map, not to Earth's surface, but to the tunnels beneath. The training GRO wine, deep under the ashes of old forests. The tunnels were alive. Black silk walls, bone, torches, echoes of old screams, and at the center, the nest, Araka rested on the ceiling, watching everything. Beside him stood Mara. She didn't speak to the recruits. She only watched, and if one failed the tests, the maze. The silence, the dark. Araka devoured them, but if they survived, she handed them a shard of armor. Old Earth tech fused with silk. You're not chosen, she'd say you're shaped. The PURPOS, the recruiters weren't just building an army, they were shaping a belief. The galaxy breaks those who fear. Earth breaks those who lie. The Legion didn't care where you came from, only if you could survive what they had survived. No food, no light, no mercy. Only the voice of your fear and the memory of the scream that made you strong. The SURPIRC-1 recruiter went too far. He tried to test a retired warlord on a council world. The warlord didn't answer. He killed the recruiter with one strike. The body turned to dust. Everyone laughed until that night. The warlord was found strangled in silk, and his chest was carved. One word, fail. Ending MOMINT back on Earth. New tunnel opened under the ocean. Spiders swam up like shadows, not attacking, just waiting, watching, because Legion didn't need war anymore. The galaxy was doing it for them. The planet Zavarian Prime had one law. Fear is forbidden. It's no horror movies, no ghost stories, it's no nightmares. Every baby received a brain chip at birth called the Calm Core. It erased fear before it could grow. No one screamed. Number. One cried. No one ran. They thought they were perfect. But the Spider Legion sent a message. You banned fear. We were born in it. Let's test who breaks first. Zavarian's PIID, the council called Zavarian a model world. No crime, no war, no emotion. Citizens spoke softly, smiled constantly, and believed in peace because the chip made them. But peace without pain is weak, and weakness attracts predators. First Siawantai CT1 night, a dark object appeared above the planet. No ship signature. No engine trail. Just a long, thin object, like a cocoon drifting in orbit. The calm core AI said, "No threat detected." But one boy named Elian looked up at it and felt something. For the first time in his life, his hands shook. When the shadows sat out night, black silk rained from the sky like ash. Not fire, it's not war, just strands, light, harmless, quiet. They fell on buildings, trees, machines. And wherever they landed, the calm core flickered. People stopped smiling, and they began to ask, "Why does the ground feel like it's watching me?" The first Pharion's father screamed. He didn't know the word for it. He'd never screamed before. But his calm core failed. Something old and deep came out of his mouth. A cry that made windows crack. By morning, half the planets. Chips had shut down by nightfall. People began to run, not from war, not from sound, from themselves. Underground, a tunnel opened in the center of the capital. No explosion. No alarm, just a long, breathing hole in the ground. From it crawled a recruiter thin, wrapped in silk. Just 8 eyes. He did not speak. He only handed Elian a black shard. "Keep it," he said, "or bury it in someone you love. Either way, you'll remember what fear gave you." The choice is Zavarian. Its leaders begged the council to help, but the council had gone silent. They, too, were under siege from spider hybrids. Left alone. The planet had one choice: reinstall the calm core and erase fear again, or leave the chips broken. And Adaptalian made the first choice and removed his chip entirely. The fate of the OTHERs, those who tried to erase fear, were found in their homes, wrapped in soft silk, peaceful, smiling, dead. The recruiter left a message carved into the capital wall: "You removed fear from the mind, so we grew it in your skin." Elian's Aketinglion stood in front of the tunnel behind him. 20 others followed, young, old, shaking but alive. He looked at the silk entrance and said, "If fear is the test." They walked into the dark. The tunnel closed. The world was silent. But now, fear had returned, not as a monster, but as a teacher. The council chambers were silent. The galaxy's oldest rulers sat trembling, not from cold, from a name. A human killed Araka. Impossible. Araka was not a soldier. He was not a king. He was something older, the spider that watched, while Earth burned and taught fear to the stars. But now, his web had gone quiet. His tunnels stopped breathing. His silk had turned gray, and only one word remained, scratched in blood on stone: debt paid. The missing man, his name was Jace Corvain, Earthborn, trained as a dropout, dismissed from every military program for being unstable. Disappeared 10 years ago. Some said he was dead. Others said he'd been taken by the Spider Legion. A few whispered he was the first recruit. Now he was back, alone, carrying a bag of fangs. The fall of a Kion gene, no one knows what happened inside the nest. But sensors picked up something strange. A human heartbeat. A second pulse. Then silence. Hiveweb flickered, for the first time in years. Araka's children screamed from under the soil. The nest collapsed, and from the ruins, Jace walked out covered in silk and blood. Behind him, nothing. No spider, no queen, no voice, just one. Human. His message to the Galaxa. Jace broadcast one message: "Fear taught us to survive, but we are not its slaves. Earth doesn't raise gods, it buries them." The signal spread across 800 systems. The Spider Legion vanished that day. No more recruiters, no more tunnels, no more black silk in the night. Flashback: the final CO1 if Arona sighed the nest. Araka loomed. "You are my first," he hissed. "My weapon, my proof." Jace dropped his weapon. "You taught me fear. Good. Now I've outgrown it. Araka lunged, but Jace did not move. He let the fangs hit, let the venom enter, let the pain return. Then he smiled. Now we're even. Planted the spike he had hidden in his own ribs. A charge wired to his own nervous system, eh? Suicide kill switch. Only he survived. Barely. The truth about Arco's POWIR wasn't magic. It wasn't biology. It was belief. The galaxy feared him. It gave him strength. But Jace, he stopped fearing a long time ago, and when belief died, at aftermatch Mara Cade vanished too. Some say she died in the collapse. Others say she followed Jace back to Earth. Or maybe she became something else. A whisper. A myth. A new teacher of pain. Earth's new RULE no longer. Spoke in galactic meetings, it no longer sent ambassadors. It simply sent this. A single stone, wrapped in black silk, covered in burn marks. Etched into it were 4 words. Train here. At your risk. Final shot, Jace walks alone across a ruined battlefield. No army. Oh, spider. Just silence. He stops beside a crater, pulls out a knife, and carves the words, "Fear is the lesson, but freedom is the test." Humans pass both. He lights a fire and disappears into the night. The stars grow cold again. But now, they remember the spider taught fear, and a human taught how to end it.